There you go. That's your better.
That's recording already. And you can take pictures too. And you can move around and people talk.
Turn the camera off.
I know, I had a feeling. That's what I was going to ask you. Maybe, if you don't mind, you wanted to do this the whole...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's your show.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. I hope you guys had some good refreshments. If you haven't grabbed one, feel free during the meeting. You can go and grab something. The bathrooms are down there. That hall to the left, and there's some there on that side, kind of close to the stairs. So if you need to use that, it's there. Also, I just want to say hello and welcome. My name is Dana Serrano. I'm one of the wildlife leaders, and we'll talk about what wildlife is in a bit. And we have some really awesome leaders and people who have been helping on this team. So if you are on the team or a leader, please stand up. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, definitely we'll talk to them. We're going to be obviously here a little bit afterwards. Feel free to talk to any of us. We'd love to share more about ourselves too. So I also want to introduce Justin and Ken. Our awesome bump start guys, they're helping us a lot with what we're doing today. So yeah, thank you.
You can invite Lynette right for us?
Yeah. I want to invite Lynette, my wife. No, you're not.
Which Lynette?
Sorry.
There's two.
We have two Lynettes.
There's two Lynettes.
My name's Lynette, and I am one of the high school leaders, and so I'd love to pray for us. Heavenly Father, we just are so grateful to be here tonight. Thank you for the generosity at Tigard High School, letting us use their facilities. Thank you for all of the people that are here tonight. Lord, as you know, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. And Father, we just need so many more workers in this ministry. So Lord, I just pray that you open hearts and minds tonight and just be here with us. Father, we lift this up to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
What time is it? Man, that's a few of you that have been around the block. The rest of you just sit there.
6:10.
You guys, y'all visited back there, and nobody came up and looked at this table and said, "You're kidding me, I can get some Washington State University Young Life socks?" If you win the raffle, that's what you, or you can get a TTYl shirt that's got all kinds of stuff on the back and everything else. Or a Windy Gap, North Carolina shirt. You can even get an awesome charcuterie board if you win. Young Life stuff. There's so many things to choose from, and find wear for your cupboard with all kinds of cool prizes. That'll probably fit your phone just perfectly. Okay? Or a hat or anything. Not my bag. Okay? All right. So now these people knew what was going to happen, and so they were really pumped. Did you hear that enthusiasm from a few people? They could hardly get it out of their mouth. They were like, raffle time. Oh, they were so excited. You got to be that excited because you could win too. All right? So, you ready? I'm going to ask you what time it is. And you better be excited or you can't win. Okay? Justin, help me watch the eyes, please. Okay. What time is it?
Raffle time.
Hey, you got it. All right, here we go. Somebody that has never been to any Young Life event before in their life. Kyle, hand went up fastest. Way to go.
Exciting. Do I need my ticket in the thing? Should I be in here?
You got a ticket in
All right,
here.
perfect. I'm good.
Go ahead and draw your own out.
Oh, that'd be exciting, wouldn't it?
Pick out someone you think needs
Also
something.
very exciting. I'm gonna go this one right here.
There you go. Thank you. Well done. That was just, you
Nailed
did
it.
that really good. That was good. All right, now drum roll, please. And a hush came over the crowd. Okay, when a hush comes over the crowd, just hush. Okay, now drum roll, please. And a hush came over the crowd. You're fast learners. Okay, now you got to be pumped up because you get to come up here and if your number's called, boy. So the first number is 6. Yes. You're all still in it, y'all. Come on, Sonic, get into this. Okay, so we said 6, the next number is 5. Yeah. 3. Yeah. Oh, you're even getting more excited. 9. Yeah. 7. Yeah. 1. Oh, I broke some hearts. I love it. 6. Yeah. Go ahead. Let me see. Double check. You're right. She does. You go right ahead. Good job, Lisa. So, when she jumped up there, it reminded me, in 1985, my wife was on a TV show that you might have seen, okay? And you probably remember watching this. It was a Halloween night of 1985. My wife was on Wheel of Fortune. And she won and I'm teaching school, and she won a brand new Corvette, okay? She solved the last puzzle. And I didn't want to run up on that stage and act like goofy because I was a teacher. I was really cool. I didn't want my kids to think I was there. So I ran up there and then just kind of walked out. Anyways, that was it. So, but you don't have to do that here. You don't have to be that cool. Hey, we are excited you are here. Justin and I both work for Young Life, and we've been involved with Young Life for a long time. And we absolutely love the ministry. And we think every school, every town, need to have Young Life because every kid matters. And Young Life is about every kid. And so we're going to have a couple of testimonies tonight, one from a student and one from an adult, their perspective on things. And so I want to have Max come up here, if you would, where are you hiding behind me? Come on up here, Max, and share yourself.
So I'm a student at Taggart High School. I'm a junior this year, but let's look back to before I started high school. So this is like the summer before I started freshman year. I was lost. I didn't have a friend group. I felt alone. I didn't have any close friends. And that summer had just been a really long one for me of just like not doing much, just feeling lonely. And then I went to high school, and a couple weeks went by, and then it was Club Rush. And I was at Club Rush, and this guy on the cross-country team named Caleb Kate said to me, "You should come to Young Life." That changed my life forever. I started going to it, and I not only made some friends, but I also started learning about this guy, Jesus. I did not grow up in church, and I had always thought of religion and Christianity as a sham, something not worth my time. But at this point, I was so desperate for a place to fit into, I gave it a shot. Through my freshman year, I slowly learned more about him, and I started to like him. When I was at Young Life, the weight of my loneliness slowly started to just go away. I signed up for camp, hoping I would get something out of it. And when my freshman year ended, I was scared to go back to being alone. And that summer was hard, but slowly the summer went by, and we got to camp, and I was excited. And everything about camp was awesome. The bus ride there, the pool, the lake, the slides, everything but our cabin. The cabin was not great. The water heater did not work. But my favorite part of all about the whole camp was not the pool, was not the games. It was my one-on-one with my leader. And I was talking with him, and it was like 11:30 p.m. at night. It was late. It was the last day of the camp. And he asked me, "What do you think of Jesus?" And I thought about that for a second. I looked out over the camp. We were at a spot that looked over the camp. I looked out over it, and in that moment, I just felt God just like come down and rest on me. And I just felt that assurance that he was here with me. That was what started my faith. And then my leader, Ryan Case, who's here, over there, he invited me to church, and at that church, I found a home. And then later in that year, through that church, I went to this camp called Best Camp Ever. And this was the best camp ever. It was 3 days over a weekend of just like the most fun-packed thing you could ever have. But also, it was also a great place to explore my faith. And during one of the worship nights, it was the Saturday worship night, I just felt the Holy Spirit just come down and rest on me. I started crying because I was just like, this is the way I need to live my life. And then I decided to get baptized by Caleb Kate, which is his son. And now I am a student leader for Tiger Young Life. I'm involved in as many ministries as I can be in. I found a group of friends who love me unconditionally. I found mentors who are guiding me deeper into my faith, and I found my calling for what I should do in high school.
So, thank you, Banks. That's beautiful. We're gonna watch a video. It's about 5 or 6 minutes long. This video is really old, and not as old as me, but it's old. And it is. I use this video. There are better videos. Young Life has, but there's one line in particular in this video that I really, really like. And if you really, really like the line that I really, really like, and you raise your hand when I ask the question, and you answer first, you get to come up here and grab a prize. But you took that. Nobody took that last night. That shocked me that was still available. Good for you. That's a good prize. Anyway, but you get, if you say my line, now there's a bunch of good lines, so just because you don't say mine doesn't mean you picked the bad one, okay? So I hope you enjoy this. It's an older video. In fact, the president, it'll say President of Young Life, he's passed away since this is gone, since this time. But anyway, we have another president. So let's go ahead and watch this. It's called In the World of Kids. And by the way, there are some DVDs back there, In the World of Kids. They're free. If you want to take it and show somebody that wasn't here tonight, or you want to tell somebody about this ministry, you can have one of those DVDs.
Doesn't matter where you live, all kids are the same.
Every kid has this desire to be loved. Every kid has this desire to figure out what the future might hold.
They're looking for meaning, they're looking for purpose.
They're looking for something of eternal significance to believe in, whether they know it or not.
Young Life is concerned adults moving into the teenage culture.
We are the arm of the church to reach out to kids who would never come to church.
We do that by going where they are.
We enter into kids' worlds.
We invest hundreds and hundreds of hours developing relationships.
In the hopes of building trust, having fun.
We'll go wherever kids happen to be.
We have been going to field hockey games, we have been going to basketball games.
Just walking with them through life.
We don't criticize them, we don't judge them, we just accept them for who they are.
Going to where kids are is not something you do once a week or once a month. It's something that happens day in and day out.
And that's what I teach my leaders. And they go, well, it was bad. Well, show up again. And you keep showing up and you're consistent.
Because consistency and faithfulness will lead to trust. And it's only when trust is built that we have gained a hearing with the kid to share with them the greatest news in the world.
Young Life Club is controlled chaos.
We have a great once a week event, we do music and skits.
It is crazy games, crazy skits, crazy characters, kids acting crazy, messy.
Club is fun, we do a lot of different stuff.
All pointing towards and building towards being able to hear the gospel in a unique, fun way. Young Life Camp is kids going full tilt, having the funnest time in their life in some of the most beautiful places in the world.
You get a chance to go somewhere for a week where you experience things for the first time. And they'll go like, what, have you ever blob? No, it's a blob. Or have you ever been on zip line? No, it's zip line.
The beauty of Young Life Camp is it gets the kids out of crazy environments and allows them to be in a place where they can really hear from God.
Whatever camp you go to and a club starts, people run in to get a front row seat. There's music and there's humor and there's a whole lot of fun and laughter, but there's also a talk at every single camp club meeting, and kids want to hear. They're captivated.
message sometimes is very touching, sometimes it's very deep, and sometimes it's funny but straight to the point.
Every kid has the right to hear about Jesus Christ in a way that they understand.
If they respond to the gospel, that's incredible. And we want to help them grow in their faith.
And if they say no, we're still gonna love them.
It's for us with a calling to go to them and go, I've got good news for you that could save your life and change what you do in the way that you go.
All that we do is about changed lives. And I know that because my life has been changed through that life.
Campaigners is for kids that want to take the relationship farther with the Lord.
They're trying to learn what it's like to follow Christ. They can poke around, ask questions.
You see their lives change, and you see them change directly related to their drinking in of the gospel.
So many people and organizations write off kids.
You're dealing with kids that you see so much potential in, that you can see the future for them. A beautiful, bold future for them. And they can't see that themselves.
We get to know them and call them by name, just like God knows us and calls us by name. Doesn't get any sweeter than that.
For me to be part of that journey with them is a huge privilege.
We want to enter into the world and go, you know what? You are worth it. And I'm going to chase after you. And I'm going to love you. And we're going to have fun together. And my hope is that one day I'll get to tell you that the God of the universe loves you like crazy.
Tigard High School, since last night, installed a new projector. And last night, the old one was much better. I think they need to talk to somebody about that. So anything in there stand out to you? Anything you especially like? No right or wrong? What? We go to the kids. We don't expect them to come to us, right? And you're gonna hear later, we call that contact work, going into their world. Okay, good. Anything else? Thank you.
Yeah, mine was like 2 seconds later. That was my favorite, then I updated it. My favorite part of it and my favorite part of Jesus is that he loves me just the way I am right now.
He does. Yeah. Good. You're close to.
Oh, perfect. Close as fuck.
Close. Anything else? I died to give something else away. No? Nothing? Nobody's brave? Okay. My favorite part is when if one of the people on the screen, if Chad says, if they decide they want to follow Jesus, that's great. We're going to help them, walk alongside them, help them grow in their faith. And then our previous president says, and if they say no, we're going to love them anyway. Because we don't quit on kids. We stay with them. And I can tell you, as a 71-year-old that didn't know anything about Young Life till I was 44 years old, a lot of the kids I built relationships with and are older and have their own families right now. Some follow Jesus, some are not, and we still have great relationships. And I get to see them and get to enjoy them and as friends, and we're just brothers. So anyway, that's my favorite thing. Right now, we have one more testimony, and this is from a teacher here at school. And Justin, will you come on up and share with folks, please?
Okay.
He's timing.
I'm going to keep it under 4 minutes. Thanks for allowing me to be here tonight and share a little bit of my story. So I was a high school kid. My story is eerily similar to Max's. We were talking about this yesterday. It's weird how many similarities there were, but I was a high school kid in Boise High, and I had grown up. My family was involved in church, but it was kind of a shallow involvement. Basically, I had lived going that God was kind of a 1 day a week kind of thing for me. And so we went to church on Sunday, and then the rest of my week, I didn't really think about God very much at all. And I was, at that point, kind of okay with that arrangement, and because I didn't really know any different. And when I got to high school, I was running cross country, very similar, and I had a kid, Jeff. Jeff is my Caleb. Jeff and his older brother had gotten our Young Life Club. This was in Boise, at Boise High. They had gotten our Young Life Club started, and Jeff saw the way that I was living my life, and he knew that I needed more than what I was living. He knew about that abundant life that the Bible talks about. You know, John 10:10. He came to give life and give it to the full, give it abundantly. And he knew that I didn't have that. I didn't know I didn't have it, but he knew. He could see how I was living, and he knew that I needed more. And so he started inviting me to Young Life. And I didn't know what Young Life was, but I figured I don't need that. Whatever it is, I don't want it, I don't need it. And so I said no. And every Monday for a year, Jeff asked me, hey, will you come to Young Life with us tonight? And I said no, every Monday for a year. And finally, so it came to like my junior year, and cross-country season rolls around, and Jeff goes, hey, we got Young Life tonight. I want you to come. And I said, all right, I will go if you never ask me to go to Young Life ever again, and you have to come pick me up because I don't have a car. And Jeff said, all right, deal. So he came up and he picked me up and drove me to Young Life, and I had just the most amazing time. And it was very similar to the choppy video that you just watched. We did the crazy games, and all the things were getting thrown. But that wasn't, that was super fun. But what really got me to come back to Young Life were the volunteer leaders that were there. We had a team of leaders that were a mix of college-age kids and adults that were married, and they were Christians that were living their faith out in front of these high school kids and doing it in a way where they showed us that they cared about us. I can tell you exactly where I was, and this is it'll be 30 years ago this year that I got involved. I can tell you 30 years ago where I was standing in my house when my Young Life leader called me. And it was a landline because we didn't have cell phones back then. But I remember him calling me and my mom answering, and she was like, somebody named Matt is calling for you? And I was like, oh, it's my college Young Life leader. He's pretty cool. Like, I remember just playing it off, but thinking how cool it was that this college kid, he was going to Boise State at the time, and he was calling me wanting to come and hang out and be a part of what we were doing. And it was so, it was just inspirational to me. Matt and the rest of our Young Life leaders started coming to our cross-country meets and our track meets, and they stood out because if you're not a parent or a coach, nobody goes to cross-country meets, so we knew, we're like, hey, who's this guy? And eventually, through them showing up and coming to our stuff, almost our entire cross-country team got involved in Young Life, and we all went to camp and had this amazing experience together. We went to a Young Life camp that's in California called Woodleaf, which is still here. Some of our Tiger kids went just a couple summers ago. But I had this experience where I realized that my faith had to be more than just one day a week, that I was missing out on living that faith fully. Not even close. So I decided if I was going to follow God, if I was going to say that I was a believer in Jesus, that I had to do it full time, because I saw these leaders living that out in front of me, and partially because of just their dedication and their the way that they did that, that impacted me and my friends so much. And so I said, all right, I'm in. And so I started getting involved in Campaigners, which is a Young Life Bible study. Like I said, we went to camp. It was just this whole thing. And when I came back as a senior, they asked if I would help lead Wildlife, which is Young Life for middle school, junior high kids. It was a junior high where I was, so we would go and put on clubs for these junior high kids, and it changed the trajectory of my life. I went to a different college than I had planned on, because I ended up going to Whitworth College up in Spokane, and partially because they had a Young Life leadership class that I could take for credit and learn how to be a full Young Life leader, and so I did that, and eventually met my wife in Young Life, and she is on Young Life staff here in Oregon and Southwest Washington, and we have gotten to raise our kids going to church and coming to Young Life and going to Young Life camps in the summer. So it really has impacted everything that I do, and it's one of the reasons that I love being a teacher, because I get to be in the classroom and meet these kids, and I can tell them about Young Life, and so it's just a ministry that's near and dear to my family, and so yeah, that's my story.
Yeah.
with Justin Hayes from Vancouver, and I'm from Dallas. We're just gonna walk through some things with you that you've heard, and we're gonna be kind of brief because honestly, with that video and with these two testimonies, I think you've got a good flavor, if you didn't have one coming in, of what Young Life is and what happens. So we'll be more brief tonight than usual, but we'll still take about an hour and a half.
And before we start, and it won't be an hour and a half, but before we start, just so you know, we are hoping to grow Young Life here in Tigard and Tualatin. And we need people to do that. So as you're hearing these things be explained for what Young Life does, I want you to be asking yourself the question, is this for me? Is God calling me to this? Could I be involved in this as you hear about these things? So, great. Without further ado, here we go.
Maybe.
Up,
Okay.
up.
All right, Max, what's going on?
It's like when Grandpa asks you to help with the remote.
Yeah,
Like, my program got changed. It was just there. Well, we're going all out for kids in Tigard and Tualatin.
There we go. And we go all out for them all over the world. We're in over 100 countries. And in fact, just this last year, I got to commission 25 Young Life leaders in Kenya, where we started 3 new ministries there. And so we get to go, I get to go all over the place and help start things. Justin gets to now too, but not quite as far because he has more responsibilities back here in the States than I do. But our mission statement is introducing adolescents to Jesus Christ and helping them grow in their faith. That's what we hope to do. That's our desire, our greatest desire. Young Life, is Justin's going to tell you about that.
We want to reach every kind of kid. These are all the different types of ministries we have in Young Life. It started just with adolescents in high school, and then we found out that it will also work with kids in middle school. That's what we call our wildlife program. Capernaum is the name of our ministry to students with special needs or disabilities. Young Lives is our ministry to teen moms and dads who need to hear the gospel in a specific way. It's the same gospel message. It's the same Lord we're introducing them. But there's something about when they're hearing about it in a way that they really can connect to and relate to. Of course, we have Young Life College. We have Young Life 1, which is for kids who are in foster care, and all sorts of different types. We have Vida Joven, which is for Spanish-speaking kids. So Young Life has all of those things, and when we grow it in an area, the area gets to decide what God's calling them to do. Our heart is to be in their world, to show up on campus, to show up where kids are.
Oops.
That's right.
There you go.
This is a chart that shows the growth of depressive symptoms in the United States. And you can see, even before COVID, how it started to go way up. Teenagers today have a great need. Many of them think, I can't do anything right, my life is not useful, or that I just simply don't enjoy life. And some of us maybe remember being there as a teenager. And it's in this place of life where you're trying to separate from being, maybe with mom and dad and under there having to do everything, but at the same time still needing help and guidance. And that's what Young Life tries to do, is bring adults who are healthy, mentors around, and introduce them to Christ and help lead them through this time.
Contact work is that piece that you heard about, going to track meets, going to basketball games, going to wherever kids are. That's what we do. And that's really what sets us apart. And the idea behind that, and Justin just so eloquently said that, he realized that other adults cared about him as a high school kid. And we just want kids to know how much we care about them. We're not there to talk to them about Jesus. We're there to talk to them about them and what interests them. And that's what they need. They need people that just want to walk into their world and earn the right to be heard. We don't go out there preaching to them. We want them to say, hey, something's different. I'm hearing this thing. Tell me more. And kids do that. They want to know more. You see, here we've got these are Tigard kids. You can see Ryan out there, Superman, who just got put out because he's packing up his bags and going to the sidelines. But anyway, just having fun, having some event. Go ahead.
Showing up, like we said, showing up at events and then on campus.
These kids are out in front of their school, and they're advertising Young Life, they're talking a little bit about Young Life, but they're getting kids over to say, is a hot dog a sandwich? And there's debates that kids will come up and debate whether it's a sandwich or not. So you can see that most people will say it is a sandwich, but it's pretty even really. But it's just a way to connect, to be there, to say, hey, I'm here. And so these guys are just hanging out at school, and then they're saying, hey, by the way, we have Young Life Club, if you want to come join us tonight. So at Dallas High School, the principal said, 7th period, we have 120 kids with no class, and we can't let them go early. And they're sitting in the cafeteria. Can you get your Young Life leaders over here and just hang out with them? So we have supervision. We're cheap, we're free. So we went over there, we hung out, and after the first week I said, can we bring 9 square in here and cornhole and ping pong and set different things up and have leaders at different stations so kids aren't just sitting at tables with their cell phones? And one day he said, yeah, anything you can do to make kids happy and quiet and be good out there. So that was our very first day we set that up, and we just invited into the school. They know that we're safe, they know that we love kids, and they know we understand that we're not there to preach the gospel with words, but with our lives.
Club, we invite kids to experience the best, and we think that's Jesus Christ. They get to experience Jesus through club. Club is usually in somebody's home or at some location that is not school and not a church, so the kids can feel like they're welcome to attend and that this is a place where they can belong. It's usually got music that is more similar to their taste than what might be heard in your church on a Sunday morning. And it's got games and laughter and all sorts of things, all to prepare kids' hearts to be softened and opened and ready to hear the gospel message that's going to be preached to them that night. We don't preach behavior modification. We don't preach morality. We preach, this is who Jesus is. You should get to know him. He changed my life. That's it.
Oh, there it did go. Okay. Just local folks right here, just doing contact work, hanging out, dressing really sharp.
This is in Ridgefield, Washington. This is Matt, him and his wife. We're at a town, at a place where there was no Young Life at their middle school. And their daughter was in middle school. And they said, well, my daughter knows friends. I help coach her soccer team. I know some girls. What if we invited her friends to come to our house and we did Young Life Club at our house? And you can see the results of this is probably just 2 or 3 months after them saying we're going to start it. It's not very far away from a lot of kids hearing the gospel who've never heard it before. If people are willing to say, okay, yes, show me what to do, show me how to do it, I'll open my home, I'll open my heart to kids. And you can see how there's all these kids. I mean, there's boys and all sorts of stuff there, because when girls show up, boys follow. So, we like it when people are like, my daughter's friends. We're like, cool, they'll have a big club. When it's all the boys, it's sometimes harder to get girls to show up, for middle school especially. But I love this story because it's like they didn't have it in this town. Just like maybe Tualatin Middle School doesn't have it. It could be like this by March.
See, Lord willing. At the end of the club, it's so crazy because we start with such high energy, loud music, loud noise, big activities with all the kids. Then songs get a little gentler, and then we do something with just a few people, few kids up front games, and then we have a kind of a content song. Sometimes it's a Christian song, sometimes it's just a secular song that points to what the leader wants to speak about. And then the speaker gets up there, and they get to talk to kids that they've built relationships with, that they've earned the right to be heard from, and the kids just listen. It is amazing sometimes. In fact, it's overwhelming sometimes to me how quiet it got from how loud it was, and kids are just looking, they're intent, they want to hear what you have to say. And you have to experience that to totally understand it.
Young Life will take kids away each summer to a different location for the best week of their life. And they think it's going to be the best week of their life because they get to ski and swim and do all these fun things. But our hope is that it's the best week of their life because it's the week they met Jesus. They get to hear the whole gospel, all from beginning to end, all during that week. Get to do crazy things. Nobody knows the man behind the pie face. But we do camping. We do camping, what we call leader-centered camping. You know, kids, you're not counselors, you're there with your leaders, and we really push in Young Life that you interact and have these discussions about your life and the gospel, and you get to do fun things like pie them in the face and maybe throw a water balloon at them, because they're demonstrating all week that I'm laying down my life for you to have a great time at camp, so that you can understand that Christ laid down his life for us. That's the hope behind why we do things like this. And it creates great memories that they never forget. We, if you come to Young Life, you get a free car, so that gets a lot of kids in. No, this is our speed course that we use, and we try to have excellence in everything. People are like, why is Young Life Camp so expensive? Why do you have stuff? Because we want it to feel like God's love is so extravagant there, that it just, they're overwhelmed. They get food served to them at their table. Because we have nice bunks. We have a way for them to just go, man, everything here is like so high. It's like, well, because God's love is just that extravagant. It's for you. All of this is for you.
In 1998, the first Sunday of the first Sunday of the month came, and we're just going to start school. My wife and I teach at the same school. And I've been praying for 4 months. God, show me how I'm going to reach these kids I have in class. Show me the kids that I'm coaching, how I'm going to reach them. 4 months every morning early, because we closed down a teen center that I'd opened up to try and invent Young Life, but I knew nothing about Young Life. And on that Sunday morning, or on that Saturday morning, after my prayer time, by the way, I'm a conservative Baptist, so put that in your head too. So I was at the time, I am still, I guess, whatever. But I'm walking through my living room early in the morning before anybody's up on Saturday, and I hear the words Young Life. And I stopped and I looked around and I went, what's that? I said, Lord, is that you? I got nothing back. So I went throughout my day, didn't think much about it. I thought it was really weird. And Sunday we come home from church, the kids are downstairs, I've got football on TV, my wife Carrie is making lunch, and I've got the Sunday Oregonian in 1988. It was like this. I read the front page, and I read the sports page, and everything else goes next to my chair. I'm done. I'm watching football. That's it. And on this day, I thought, branch out for now. Read something else. And I opened up the paper, and I saw business, and I saw Parade magazine. I can't tell you all the things I saw, classified, comics, and I saw a section called Living. And I said, I'm going to read the Living section. And I pulled that out, and there was a picture in the Living section that looked like this. Full page thing, and the top said Rajneesh Camp Reborn. And I don't know, you guys look pretty young, so you might not know who the Rajneesh Bhagwan is, but back then he was a big deal in Oregon because he had a compound of 65,000 acres over in Central Oregon, and they got kicked out of the country. A guy named Dennis Washington bought the 65,000 acres at an auction and donated it to Young Life. So I learned this, I'm reading the article. It says Rajneesh Camp Reborn. And I'm going, Young Life. Yesterday when I was walking, I called to my wife and I said, come here, you gotta hear this. I said, so yesterday, and I'm just jacked up. Yesterday I was walking right here, and I heard the words Young Life. She goes, what? I said, I don't know, they came to my head. And I said, now look, this is it. This is what I've been praying about. This is what we're gonna do. And she goes, what do you know about it? I said, nothing. And she said, we'll pray about it. She walked away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, God has never spoken to me this clearly, and you just walked away from me. And the next day, first day of school, Monday of September, we're in the same elementary building, and a lady comes into the lunchroom where my wife, she teaches, and then she takes tickets. Small Eastern Oregon school, that's what you do, you get multiple jobs. And so she's taking lunch tickets, and lady comes through and she goes, Mrs. Purnell? She said, yes. She goes, my name's Heather Mao, and my husband's a new music teacher. We just moved up here from Southern California. And we've been praying about starting a ministry, and I asked the secretary if there are any teachers that love Jesus and love kids, and she said, you and your husband. So I want to know if you guys would pray with Jeremy and I about this ministry. And Carrie says, sure, we'll pray. Now, this was Monday after Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday, and she says, Carrie says, sure, we'll pray with you. What is it? And she goes, it's called Young Life. My wife screams and says, we're in. And she says, don't you want to pray about it? She says, no, Ken has been. He told me yesterday. How could he tell you? He said God told him. And so we got pictures all to tell you that story. that God called me into this, and I will tell you, I've gotten more out of being in this ministry than any kid. It has changed my life. It has been beautiful. I've been able to live out my life, my calling, through this ministry of Young Life. And so, maybe you just heard God calling you. I don't know. That's Dalton, by the way. That's not the kid in the paper. He's one of our kids on our, that I took to camp. That's actually Dalton. Not that it matters. But these are just a group of kids, and I'm not going to tell you any more stories about those kids, but I could tell you lots of stories about every one of them, and I'm not even going to start because I'll go forever. But they all have a
camp is
story.
an adventure, you can tell. We actually have to put helmets on.
They are. They're going to go on a ropes course, and it was tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough for older, heavy guys. This is the wildlife camp this is Washington Family Ranch Creekside. This is right here is where there's 400 kids. The leader's talking to 400 kids. What you see there is part of the 65,000 acres. Over here in this corner is the Young Life camp. It's called Canyon. So we have Canyon over there and Creekside over here. So those are our camps here in Oregon, and we love them.
This is just another stat that we had here that shows, the value of Gen Z teens in regards to wanting to have spiritual conversations, wanting to do so with a mentor. They're willing to have these conversations. They're willing to talk about spiritualities. They're willing to talk about God and the Bible and reality, but they don't want to be preached at. They don't want to have someone just come tell them what to do. They want to have a mentor, someone that they can talk to, that they can dig around with, that they can try to figure out and get their questions asked and really have a chance to think through these things as opposed to just kind of being preached at and or just watch some video and hopefully that they make a decision. So part of this is just to sustain the idea that it's about a leader who is walking with kids, helping them go through these spiritual conversations.
We get the most amazing privilege of seeing lives transformed right in front of us. You heard Max talk. We get to see it, we get to walk with it, and it's an incredible, incredible privilege. And I was going into club one night and with my wildlife kids, and there's 400 kids waiting to go in, and you stand outside the door, and they don't let everybody go in until they're ready. And so you kids just can't wait to get in. You heard them in the video say kids come running in. They really do. They're just ready for the doors to open. And I'm kind of in the back of the 400 kids, and I get a little tug on the back of my jacket, and I turn around and I said, hey, Caden, what's going on? And he said, we need to talk. And I said, okay, buddy, what do you want to talk about? He says, we need to talk. I said, okay, what? And he says, we need to talk. Like, we can't talk here where everybody else is. We walked away. And he said, I don't go to church. My family doesn't believe in God. He said, that I just have never prayed before. And he goes, I get it now. And I want to follow Jesus. And I know I have to pray. And I really know I need to ask God to forgive me. But he said, I've never prayed before. And I don't want to mess this up. He said, can you help me? And I said, buddy, you can't mess this up. You've said enough already. I said, let's just talk. So we prayed. And 2 weeks later, I got this picture that a leader took, and all it said, it came to me, it's sitting on my dresser, and it just said, hey, this looked like a special moment. And that's Caden. He's 25 years old, and I could tell you all kinds of stories about him, but because of time, I'm not gonna. But I love the kid, love him a lot. So anyway, and they live over in John Day. And amazing, this is 2 days in a row I've actually talked to his father on the phone, and I'm going to be spending more time with Caden. He's going through some things, so they called me. It's pretty honoring when non-Christians, who are self-proclaiming non-Christians, don't believe in a higher power, will call you and say, can you come over and spend time with my kid, whether he's 17 or whether he's 25. And so they know I care, and that's really the key to Young Life, is we do care as leaders.
Campaigners, I like to say it's opening up their lives in the Bible. It's saying, this is what I'm dealing with in my life. A kid going, I'm struggling with this, I'm afraid of that, I don't know about this, and here's what the Bible says about it, and how do I live life and do that. It's not these major, deep theological, get it right. It's like, here's my life, how do I do this? What does the Bible say and teach? And so we get to do that with kids. Go ahead to the next one. This is just another quick example of like, there's probably a bunch of people, this looks like your backyard, and this is just some girls. One of those is my daughter. All the rest of those girls did not grow up going to church. But they're in the backyard, opening the Bible, reading the scriptures, and talking about how to live their lives. Because Young Life got them to camp, and then after camp we said, well, let's meet up and keep meeting, and there they are. And you know, not every kid's gonna maintain a super strong walk with Christ. But for a while you get to share that word with them in their lives and hopefully give them some wisdom about how to live and walk that out. So it's a privileged spot, like you said.
You may be sitting here going, you know, I don't relate that well to kids, and kids really probably wouldn't like me. I'm maybe just too old, or I don't know enough about the Bible, or you can have all kinds of stuff to say. And I'm observing my friend Jeff, who's the leader of Hood River Young Life, and I'm there supervising him. I'm sitting back at a table watching a Christmas club in this living room, where they have club there and they also have a campaigners there. And so I'm just watching, and I'm sitting next to an older gentleman at the time. He was my age now, he was in his 70s. And so because I knew when you hit 70, there's no way you could ever be a Young Life leader, I said, hey, are you on the committee? He said, no, I'm a Young Life leader. I thought, he didn't have any hair. He was 6'3", 6'4", about 170 pounds. And I'm thinking, really, Young Life leader? Because I'm very judgmental. And so he said, yeah, he goes, you know, I was a Young Life leader for years. And then I became a committee person, and then I kind of stepped away. And then when I had my second hip replaced, I was in the pool at the Y at about 4 o'clock every day doing my therapy on my hip, and there were these 3 boys that were always there. And he said, so I just began to talk to him. And he goes, there's those 3 boys over there on the couch. Now this is this tall, 6'3", thin, slender, bald-headed, white, pasty guy, okay? And he said, those 3 boys over there. And he said, those 3 boys you were talking to? He said, yeah. He says, I kept asking if they go to Young Life. They said, no, they don't do religious things. And so I kept telling them a little bit more about Young Life every day I was in there. They'd come down after school, and all freshmen. He said, finally they said one day, if you take us, we'll go. So he said, I took them last year. And he said, see the one on the end of the couch? He's a Christian, gave his life to Christ. This one here, the one in the middle is a Christian too. And he said, but the other one's a pre-Christian. He goes, they come to campaigners and they come to club every week, and they don't miss. And he named them all, and I can't name them all. And he said, then they sit on that couch every time at campaigners every week. I said, will you take a picture of them at campaigners for me next week and send it to me? And he did. And these are those 3 boys. Hispanic boys, parents work in the cherry orchards outside of Hood River. And he built this relationship, and these guys love their leader because he invested in them. He talked to them and then took them and walks with them. And I didn't tell this last night, but a couple of years ago we had a big, our whole region met in Salem, and committee and leaders from all over our region, which is Oregon, Southwest Washington, came together. There were hundreds of us. And the committee chair was there, who was 10 years ago was a committee chair in Hood River. And I said, Dale, I said, it's good to see you. I hadn't seen him in a long time. And I said, who's this with you? And it was a young Hispanic boy. And so I met him, and I said, how'd you get involved with Young Life? He goes, oh man, my family's been involved forever because my brother went, and his 2 friends, and he says, they became Christians, and they started going to church, and then we started going to church, my parents started going to church, and he says, so I just did wildlife, and I'm in Young Life now, and I said, wait, who was your young life leader? Who is your brother's young life leader? And Dale looks at me and goes, you know him. He was that tall guy you talked about before. Legacy, the whole family was changed because of what happened then. And it was great to see this young man.
Committee, so part of what we have for Young Life are the leaders who are on the front lines. Committee are the people who are kind of behind the scenes, or just as much a part of the team. They do the fundraising, they do the praying, although leaders do a lot of praying. They do organizing, like behind the scenes, if they have an event that they need people to bring things for, to drive things. They do leader care. They're the kind of the base of what keeps Young Life in a community. Tiger and Twalton, how many committee people do we have?
All together.
Zero.
Add them all up.
If Ken and I were doing this presentation and talking to people in a town that was brand new to Young Life, we would say you're not allowed to have leaders, you're not allowed to have a staff person until you have a committee. You have to have a committee of people who will be behind the leaders to help them to be successful, so it's sustained, so that it can last longer, because leaders might come and go, or life things might happen. You know, some people are young, but then they have kids, and the kids become toddlers, and they have to step away for a little bit. They usually come back. But the committee is what sustains it and keeps it going. So we would say, you can't have it, but here in Tiger and Twalton, they not only have leaders, they have a staff person, they have an admin, they have an office, they have a lot of stuff going. They don't have that support behind it, and that's just not sustainable long term. So we're asking people to consider, first, should I be a Young Life leader? Because like Ken said, no one's too old, no one's too young, everyone can do it, and it is the most privileged place to be. But then if that is not where God is calling you, it's not what God's putting on your heart, would you consider being on the committee? Adults who care deeply about kids and get behind the leaders and say, whatever you need to be successful in this ministry, we will do. We'll serve the food, we'll host the event, you can use my garage, you can borrow my truck, all the things that make it more possible for leaders to be focused directly on kids' ministry. The way we describe it is an area director and a committee chair stand back to back. And the committee chair says, I'll handle the adults, I'll work with the churches, I'll raise the money. And the area director stands with them and says, I'll focus on volunteer leaders and reaching kids. That's what my focus is. And if we don't have that, then that one staff person is turning all the way around and trying to cover so many bases that we don't have as much of an impact with students. The last thing I'll just say is that we've had committee people, they get with their best friends and say, let's do this together. Let this be fun for the next 2 years. If we've had whole small groups join the committee at one time from a church. All of a sudden, 8 people from a small group are like, not only do we share our lives in small group, but we have a mission. We're going to do this. So if that's something you wanted to consider and your best friends aren't here, call them up and be like, I know what God wants us to do the next 2 years. Maybe join the committee with them. And there's something about doing it in community that's really beautiful.
So that's it for what we have to share. We want you to think about what it is the Lord might want you to do. And we do not twist arms. We want you to be called not by us, not by a desperate need that you see that there is here, but we want the Lord to speak to you and call you. And so we don't even want you to make a decision tonight. We want you to pray about this. We want you to think about this. And we want you to fill out an information card. Indicate what you're leaning into, but not committing to. Now, if God has told you while you're sitting here, I need to do this, go ahead and say that. That's okay. I'm not going to tell you you can't. But we want you to make a prayerful decision that you feel good about. We want you to pray about it. And then, we'd love it. Yeah, you can go ahead and hand those out, Denny. We'd love it if you come back next Thursday night. And if you already have something going on next Thursday night, you can't come back to this same place and meet us here and see what's next. We'll meet with you anytime. You just call up whoever invited you, and they'll make sure we meet with you and we can talk to you. It's called the Come If You're In ... Interested meeting. I called it the Come If You're In meeting when I first started doing this, and it was scaring people away. So they thought they had to bring their credit card, and we were going to have a line for that and everything else. But so we just want you to lean in. We want you to come, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it is to be a leader, and we're going to take leaders, people interested in being young life, wildlife leaders, parental leaders, whatever you feel led to. We're gonna put you on one side of the room. People that think they wanna work behind the scenes and be on the committee, what we desperately need. We're gonna take in another part, and we're gonna talk to you about what roles are available. We need a committee chair, we need a prayer coordinator, we need a leader care person, we need a finance manager. You know, there's about 15 different roles we can fill on the committee. And so, and we need people to take those roles, because otherwise it falls on Daniel and Lynette and these leaders to do so much more, and we want them with kids. And there's so many kids in the Tigard to Wallerton area, in the high school and the middle school, and we don't have nearly enough leaders. And here's the other thing, Justin and I would love to, you know, when like next month I'll be in Colorado doing this, and I won't be going back, but you're close. It's only an hour to get here. I'll come up here and meet with anybody for coffee, talk to them about this ministry. You have somebody we need to go visit with, let's go visit. Let's go share with them in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and share with them about this ministry. There was a lady here last night that said, you know what, can we do this again in January? Because I can think of 6 to 10 people while I'm sitting here who need to be in this room, and I'll invite them to my house, or we can come to the library or whatever. But I want to do this again. I want to talk to more people. I said, we'll make it work in January. But don't wait till January if you know God's calling you now.
I would just add, for both those situations, both those roles, whether it's a leader or a committee, there is a vetting process, a training process. All of our leaders get background checked. They have to take child safety courses. There's a process we go through, and you can jump in and participate in all of that, and hopefully you won't get all the way to the end. But if you go to the first few meetings and think, well, maybe this isn't what I thought it was gonna be, you can switch to the other one and go on the committee, or you can go to the committee training and decide, maybe I should actually be a leader. Or you could say, I don't think I can do it right now. Maybe I'll come back next summer. There's no obligation. In other words, you don't have to show up next Thursday going, I know for a fact I'm gonna be a leader. Just come back one more time to one more meeting and hear about it, and keep praying, and hopefully the Lord will reveal that to you. So, are there any questions about anything with Young Life, or anything that we shared or missed, or you heard us say, or about the ministry, how we do it?
Justin, is it okay if I make
Please.
Okay. I said this yesterday, but I'll just say it again. So I'm Ryan Cate. I'm a volunteer. I'm like the volunteer team lead for high school. And I was you guys 4 years ago looking at one of these pieces of paper, and I was like, I had 2 kids in high school at the time, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And at the time, I clicked committee. I was like, I could do committee, and then little did I know that God had other plans for me. And it showed up at the first committee meeting, and they were like, hey, we really need guy leaders. And I was the only guy at the committee leader meeting. And I started praying, and the Holy Spirit started working in my life. And then I was like, you know what, I think I can do this. And so, and I started 4 years ago, hosting a Bible study in my house that's a mile away from here. And it started with 10 guys showing up. We've had up to 36 guys showing up to study the Bible, and it's been pretty amazing. And I've watched, like Max told his testimony, and it totally almost gave me a tear to my eye yesterday, and just seeing how he's grown. I've watched Miriam, who started as this, she's still tiny, but but she started as this tiny young girl and has blossomed into this amazing woman who is a great leader, and has been really amazing about just bringing it. She loads up her car with her brother and a bunch of kids and drops them off at Bible study on Friday. So you just never know where God's gonna lead you. And so I would encourage you, just pray about it, be open to it. Obviously, if you want to talk to somebody who's been a leader, I'm more than willing to talk to you. Cy, Lynette, we've been doing it. If you want to talk about wildlife, Daniel's been doing that for the last few years. I mean, because those are huge things and huge needs. Because we need more boots on the ground, but also we do need committee, because that's how things happen and how things work. One last plug, shameless plug. I'm all about sending kids to camp and making camp more affordable. And so, if you drink LaCroix, Polar, or anything like that, in the back there are little blue bags, and you're more than willing to take one of them. And all you do is you fill it up with your cans, and you could drop them off at Fred Meyer or the little can recycling place in Tigard, and that money goes to send kids to camp. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but we did a fundraiser and we've already raised like $500 to send kids to camp. And that's just on my heart. And so obviously, thank you for giving me time. I'll be short, but thanks, and just keep praying about it.
Okay, jump in real fast too. I'll be shorter, I promise.
Okay. All right.
I had 2 boys who were at Tigard, and the first night my son went to Young Life Club, and I hadn't really heard a whole lot about it, didn't know, so he went, and at the end of the night, I kind of came to the door and was kind of peeking in to see what they were doing, and they were just having such a great time. And when they dismissed the kids, Ben-Hur came out and he introduced himself and he said, "Which one is your kid?" And I said, "Oh, my son's Gabe." And he goes, "I love Gabe." And he hardly knew him, but he just had such a passion for kids. And it really changed my kids' lives. And I'm a high school teacher, not here at Tigard, another high school, but I just had such a passion for kids. I'm 62 years old. And I'm still doing this, and we desperately need more girl leaders. So that's my plug for all of you.
No pressure.
None felt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anyone just come up?
When's the next Young Life Club and Wildlife Club?
Young Life Club is December 15th. Christmas Club. So if you got a teenager, have them dress in their best Christmas garb. What's that? And Wildlife Club is the 17th.
Yep.
Where at?
17th at St. Anthony's in their cafeteria.
Yep.
It's
And
where?
St. Anthony's in their cafeteria.
Yep.
What about the 15th?
The 15th is at Bridgeport Church. They've offered to feed us, so there's food. You don't have to feed your kid dinner. It's chicken teriyaki, which is pretty awesome. I know, exactly. And they get really excited about food.
Do you guys
And so,
have,
especially, and it's at 7 p.m.
They can follow?
Just for the high school, yeah.
For the high school club, what, is it on Instagram?
Yes. Instagram is TigerYL.
TigerYL on Instagram. That's usually where they post.
Yeah, so is there 2 different,
Yeah, please do.
and I had kids at the high school that were part of that. So they are still 2 separate ones?
Right now, because we don't have any leaders in Tualatin right now.
Okay.
But we are hoping.
But if you have kids who go to 12 and they want to show up, they're welcome.
Yes.
Kids will always be
So
welcome.
currently.
But there's no
one in
leaders
Tigard,
going to
but
that
there's no-
school, building relationships,
Gotcha.
connecting with kids.
Okay.
It's just a Tiger.
So are there kids that are meeting at somebody's place like it used to be, or is that not even going?
Are you?
For 12, then you're
For
asking?
Walton High, yeah. No, okay.
Praying about it.
We used to have 70 kids who were showing up pretty consistently, and then COVID hit, and COVID kind of decimated everything, and not just for Young Life, but for all organizations, but we've had a really hard time bouncing back post-COVID.
Yeah, I have a son I have a 25-year-old, 24, 22, and 21, and when they were at Walton High School, the 25-year-old and 24, it was a very large group.
Yeah, yeah.
But definitely not for my 21.
It's all about leaders. It's about leaders who are going to that school. I mean, every place where we have leaders that are growing, kids are coming out of the woodwork. And all around, ministry is growing. I oversee ministry, Ken does at different places. Kids want this, but we don't want a program. We're not just putting something on
And are
front.
they going into the school?
Mhm.
How are they, okay, so.
It varies depending on the school district. Some
Right, that's
schools
what I was
you
gonna
can
say.
walk right in,
Are they?
sign in and go into the lunchroom and have lunch and hang out. Some schools, you gotta show up to a sporting event or you have to kind of have a specific reason to be there. Sometimes Young Life leaders volunteer to help clean up in the cafeteria after lunch or whatever, and they get to know kids that way, different things like that. So it all can vary depending on the school district.
On the school and probably the leadership within the building.
Yeah. I will say, what I tend to see is the harder the school is, the more challenging it is, the less parent involvement, the more open they are to having outside adults come in and impact kids because they know the value of it. So
They're more open, schools are more open now than they were pre-COVID because they're having more issues.
Yeah.
So, what time is it? Good, you woke up a little bit. All right, now, you won that charcuterie board. So, you look around, who else needs to win something?
It's gonna start with a 6.
There's a lot of pressure. And whoever it is has to be signed up. Is that's the only pressure. Can I have a drum roll, please? Can I have you came over the crowd? You guys are getting good. We're learning. 6, 5, 3, 9, 7, 1, 7. Oh, get up and shout that! You gotta run up here and put the attitude. If you leave it off the table, where's your name tag?
I'd rather put it on.
I'm
Karma though.
You're are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you a Yankee fan or you just wearing that
I'm
thing?
just wearing it, you know.
Good. Yeah, okay, good, because I'm a Red Sox fan and we don't get along very well. So, anyway. Hey, Lynette, Lynette with an I, where are you hiding? Would you come up here and close us in prayer?
Can I just add one last thing that we did mention before?
Well, you know, I'm trying to cover everything.
You know, one of the things in Young Life that we're grateful that we've been able to do is Young Life works is they say on the video is an arm of the church. We work with all kinds of churches. We consider ourselves, what's the big word? Ecumenical. Mm-hmm. Ecumenical. So we don't have just one church's. In fact, we don't want just one church's kind of representation or theology there. We want to introduce kids to Jesus, and hopefully they go find their church. And a lot of times it'll be the place. I have a lot of friends who are in ministry or pastors' kids, and Young Life is a place for them to grow in their faith. And because it's kind of their own little place to show up and belong. So we see that happen with a lot of kids too. They kind of take hold of it and going like, this was my parents' thing that always took me to church, but now I get to grab my own faith through Young Life. And a lot of times then when they start going back to their parents' church, they reconnect that way too. So I just wanted to make sure that was part of what we
And you heard us say that we don't usually meet in churches, yet both our places are meeting in churches, but.
One Catholic church and one non-Catholic church. So,
yeah, so anyway. So, Lynette, will you close us, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for bringing us together, just to learn a little bit more about Young Life and how to minister to kids in a very personal way. We just pray that wherever you call us, that we may just be able to spread your love and share the gospel message. In your name we pray. Amen.
And I'm going to say one last thing, even though it's time to go. I want you all to know that you have all been prayed for, and hands have been laid on you before you ever got here tonight. Because several months ago, when we started putting names on this list, we were praying over this list. And I don't know what other people did. Some of us would print off the list of several hundred names, put our hand on it, and say, God, you call, you bring who you want to bring here, who needs to hear this. And that's no pressure on you at all from me. Let other people deal with that. But just want you to know you've all been prayed for, and we're very grateful that you showed up. Grab something to eat, sit around, visit, just leave your stuff on the table, we'll pick it up. Flip over that paper if you would, because there's a place to put your credit card on the back. Thank you, have a good night.
He's only got like 3 jokes. He just keeps saying the same ones.
Yeah, I heard him. I was here
goes
last
to,
night.
He goes to new towns, and so then he gets to say new ones.
Yeah, that's why I get to preach the same sermon with the different soldiers.
Smart.
I save every chapel I do, so I can just like.
Sir, we've heard this one before.
Collect my pens. Yeah, those will walk away.